Good evening, you're now with me, Handy Gui, for TVS Nightline, and here are the headlines for tonight. 12-year-old boy with special needs perishes in Mile 7 SHOPLOT fire. On Dubai move, pleased to open investigation paper. 3 influencers and number of political leaders will be called to give statements. And Macron starts reshuffle as French Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne resigns. A 12-year-old boy with disability perished in an afternoon fire that consumed 6 units of shop houses in Kota Sentosa on Tuesday. Sarawak Fire and Rescue Department Assistant Director of Operations, Hendry R. Dimancha, said the remains of 12-year-old Jindra Hiu Zitao were discovered in the living room area on the 2nd floor of the SHOPLOT unit.
Jadi kebakaran melibatkan 6 buah kedai sebenarnya, tetapi yang teruk 4 buah kedai dan terdapat 1 orang mangsa remaja 12 tahun merupakan OKU berkatuan mental yang tidak dapat bergeraklah secara normal. Jadi mangsa ini dah terperangkap di pasukan. Kita telah menjumpai mangsa berkenaan di ruang tamu di tingkat atas. Mangsa malangnya meninggal dunia dalam keadaan rentung, tetapi masih lagi cukup sifatnya lah. Pada awalnya kita dimaklumkan ada 2 orang, tetapi setelah kita dapat pengesahan daripada keluarga mangsa, ibu mangsa, dia kata ada seorang itu saja.
The chart remains were handed over to the police for further action. He added the cause of the fire and the losses are still under investigation. Previously, Bomba received a distress call at around 3:30 p.m. and 3 teams from Batu Lintang, Tabon Jaya and Kota Samarahan fire stations were deployed to the scene, involving 40 personnel.
French President Emmanuel Macron is set to announce a new Prime Minister in a highly anticipated cabinet reshuffle to invigorate the remaining 3 years of his presidency. Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne resigned on Monday, paving the way for Education Minister Gabriel Attal, 34, who is favoured to succeed her.
A source close to Macron said the announcement would come Tuesday morning. The absence of the swift announcement fueled talk that heavyweight government figures might be involved in intense bargaining over Attal. However, sources close to those said to be behind the tensions, including Interior Minister Gerard Darmanin and Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire, vehemently denied this. The reshuffle comes ahead of the Olympic Games in Paris and European Parliament elections this summer, where Macron's centrist forces risk defeat at the hands of the far-right under Marine Le Pen. While Macron cannot run again in 2027 presidential elections, relaunching his government is seen as crucial to help prevent Le Pen becoming president. Other possible candidates to succeed Borne include 37-year-old Defense Minister Sébastien Lecornu and 43-year-old Julien Denormandie, a former Agriculture Minister.
The handover of Bintulu Port to Sarawak holds significant potential for boosting the state's economy and revenue in the coming years. A senior fellow at the National Professors Council, Dr. January Ahmed, said the Sarawak government's persistent desire to take control of the port is rooted in the Malaysia Agreement 1963. And under the leadership of Sarawak's Premier, Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng, the move aims to restore the state's right, administering and developing it at state port, positioning it to become a crucial transportation hub in the Asia-Pacific region.
Dan kita boleh lihat ini menggambarkan satu hubungan kerjasama yang baik antara kerajaan negeri dengan kerajaan persekutuan di bawah kepimpinan PMX sekarang. Jadi ini akan pasti meninggalkan kesan yang positif terhadap pelbagai segi, khususnya dari segi ekonomi. Dan bagi saya ini adalah sebahagian daripada langkah untuk pelaksanaan strategi pembangunan Pelabuhan Sarawak secara menyeluruh dalam konteks Plan Induk yang bakal dilaksanakan oleh kerajaan negeri untuk memungkinkan pembangunan di semua pelabuhan di Sarawak dan memastikan setiap pelabuhan dapat memainkan peranan khususnya dalam konteks memajukan lagi ekonomi di negeri Sarawak.
He told this to TVS when contacted on Tuesday. He further reiterated that the Bintulu port will play a pivotal role in facilitating the state's economic development, in particular the oil and gas industry and its midstream and downstream activities, edible oil, the proposed supply base, carbon capture utilization and storage, CCUS, and the production of hydrogen and biofuels.
Kalau kita lihat dalam konteks industri minyak dan gas, aktiviti pertengahan dan hiliran, minyak, pangkalan-bekalan dicadangkan, penangkapan, penggunaan dan penyimpanan karbon yang diperjuangkan ataupun dilaksanakan oleh Premier, pengeluaran hidrogen dan biofuel yang lain. Jadi dalam hubungan ini, saya percaya akan berlaku peningkatan pendapatan untuk Sarawak apabila mereka mendapat hasil lebih baik, urusan perniagaan lebih rancak lagi melalui Pelabuhan Bintulu nanti.
Bintulu Port, which is currently under the purview of the Transport Ministry MOT, will be officially handed over to the Sarawak State Government in June this year. It was a decision reached at the Federal State Joint Committee meeting chaired by Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Uga Ambas, who is also Sarawak Minister for Infrastructure and Port Development, and Federal Transport Minister Anthony Lok Siu Fook. A joint statement issued after the meeting stated that the MOT and the Sarawak Ministry of Infrastructure and Port Development will be signing a Memorandum of Understanding MOU next month, which is February, to finalize the Bintulu Port handover. The MOU would enable the Sarawak government to establish a Bintulu Port Authority Sarawak under the Port Authority Ordinance 1961, while ensuring that the operations of Bintulu Port would not be affected or disturbed during the transition period.
Deputy Prime Minister Dato' Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi described the Dubai move as a failure, as the federal government led by Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim has the support of 150 MPs. The UMNO president also took some political party leaders to task, stating that they should be thinking about ways to bring prosperity to the people.
Adding further, he said attention should be given to encouraging more investments, generating economic growth to create more jobs and reduce unemployment and inflation. Responding to questions about a political leader claiming that their coalition had obtained enough statutory declarations to topple the government, he said that they should be waiting for the next general election to do so. Meanwhile, 3 social media influencers will be called up by the police to record their statements in connection with the Dubai move that was touted as an alleged attempt to topple the federal government led by Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Inspector General of Police IGP Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said the 3 individuals are Badrul Hisham Shaharin or Cikgu Bard, Wan Muhammad Azri or Papagomo, and Salim Iskandar, who had used the social media platform to discuss the issue. Speaking at a special media conference in Bukit Aman earlier today, he said all 3 would be summoned soon to facilitate investigations. And apart from the 3, a number of political leaders will also be summoned to give their statements. According to Razaruddin, police have received a total of 43 police reports nationwide from representatives of political parties with regards to the Dubai move. He said an investigation paper had been opened based on those reports under Section 124(c) of the Penal Code for an attempt that would harm parliamentary democracy. On December 30th, Community Communications Department Deputy Director General for Community Communications, Dato' Ismail Yusof, was reported to have claimed that there was a move to topple the government involving certain leaders from both sides of the political divide that took place in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates.
In a move aimed at fortifying the carbon trading industry in the central region of Sarawak, the Sarawak Forest Department has issued a carbon study permit to the Kuala Rajang Islamic Trust Board. Deputy Minister of Urban Planning, Land Administration and Environment Sarawak, Datuk Len Talib Saleh, emphasised that this initiative, encompassing over 40,000 hectares of mangrove forests, not only serves the interests of the local population, but also contributes to the preservation of the environment in the area. Furthermore, he disclosed that the study, which commenced on December 26 of the previous year, is slated for implementation over the next 2 years.
Lakir, Lembaga Amanah Kebajikan Islam Kuala Rajang telah diberi lesen penerbangan pembalakan sebelum ini oleh Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak menerusi Jabatan Hutan. Dan selama ini kita menggunakan kaedah itu untuk menebang dan digunakan hasil dari tebangan ini, tuaian ini kita menggunakan untuk menghasilkan cakul, arang dari kayu bakau. Tapi setelah undang-undang mengenai perdagangan karbon diluluskan oleh Dewan Undangan Negeri tahun lepas, bermakna kita boleh menggunakan sebahagian daripada lesen ini untuk kita terlibat di dalam perdagangan karbon ini, di mana kita tidak perlu menebang kawasan untuk kita mendapatkan hasil daripada kawasan ini nanti.
The study has garnered positive interest from various companies. The study involves 2 stages, identifying carbon quantity on the land and hiring consultants to offer it to buyers through carbon purchase credits. Previously, the Rajang Delta Development Agency, RADA, initiated a carbon capture, utilization and storage CCUS project focused on mangrove forests along the Rajang River. Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Jori Tunopeng, stressed the superior carbon storing capacity of mangrove trees, which is 3 times greater than normal trees. The CCUS initiative extends beyond fossil fuel applications, contributing to emissions reductions in power and industrial assets, while creating new economic opportunities tied to low-carbon hydrogen and ammonia production.
A total of 13 sports will be contested at the 3rd Sarawak Games Suksar, which will be held in Cebu from January 15 to 18. Suksar's head of Southern Zone contingent, Caroline Cleophas Joseph, said Suksar will serve as a platform to scout Sarawakian talent and prepare state athletes for the 21st Malaysia Games.
Antara objektif sukan ini adalah sebagai salah satu platform talent scouting untuk pemilihan pelapis sukan SUKMA, dan kedua untuk membantu persatuan dalam penganjuran pertandingan, ketiga untuk memperkenalkan sukan teras ke setiap zon, keempat untuk menyediakan program pendedahan bagi atlet pelapis SUKMA, dan kelima untuk menyediakan pegawai-pegawai teknikal bagi sukan-sukan yang terpilih.
The resident of Serian Division also said that a total of 367 people from the Southern Zone will participate in the sports, involving 74 team managers and 293 athletes from Serian, Sumarahan and Kuching divisions. According to her, the Southern Zone emerged as the overall champion for the previous edition of Suksar with a collection of 55 gold, 46 silver and 31 bronze medals.
So, kita harap kita dapat mencungkil bakat seawal yang mungkin, ya. Dan harapan saya agar kita Unsur Selatan akan terus menjuarai sukan Suksar edisi ketiga pada kali ini.
The games contested include weightlifting, cycling, basketball, volleyball, futsal, hockey, judo, karate, martial arts, sepak takraw, boxing, taekwondo, and wushu.
The eastern regions of Sabah and Sarawak are forecasted to encounter continuous rain on Thursday and Friday as heightened humidity driven by easterly winds prevails in the area. The Director General of Met Malaysia, Muhammad Helmi Abdullah, stated that the weather model analysis indicate that this condition may result in increased humidity, potentially causing continuous downpours in the affected areas. He further said in a statement on the agency's Facebook page that Met Malaysia has also updated the continuous rain warning for Sarawak on the same day. Muhammad emphasized that the public is urged to regularly check the website www.met.gov.my and Met Malaysia's official social media channels for the latest information. Additionally, individuals are encouraged to download the My Cuaca application to receive real-time updates. A 20-year-old vegetable farmer was jailed for 24 months with 2 whips after he was found guilty of conducting indecent modus operandi of robbing by flashing his private parts to his victims. His sentence began today, January 9th, after the court examined his social report from the Department of Social Welfare, which stated that he is a habitual offender of such obscene crime.
He stood accused of robbing a 23-year-old student of her identification card, ATM card, education savings card, university student card, and 300 ringgit cash. The incident took place in front of a business premise at Jalan Stephen Yong around 9:15 p.m. on February 23, 2023. He was arrested by police 3 days later, around 2:40 a.m. at a residence in Kampong Kuap, Jalan Penrison. On May 25, 2023, the perpetrator faced legal consequences when the magistrate's courts ordered his placement in the Henry Gurney School until the age of 21. This ruling was in response to 6 charges, including molestation, indecency, and house intrusion. The crimes occurred between December 2022 and April 2023 with 4 different women, aged between 20 to 35, falling victim to the perpetrator. Additionally, he faced charges for sexually harassing a foreign woman on the staircase of a building in MJC Batu Kawa.
Coming up right after the break, government will not engage in direct negotiations for government procurement. Religious Affairs Minister rejects actor Rosham Noor's brothel proposal for foreigners. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned.
Adventure of the Lands takes you on a thrilling ride alongside passionate wildlife photography enthusiasts. Join us as the adventure of the lands unfolds the story behind the lands. Experience the adrenaline, the challenges, and the magical moments that only nature can provide. Don't miss the expedition of a lifetime.
Welcome back. Now, the practice of direct negotiations to acquire projects will not be condoned under the unity government. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said this behaviour would only create a loophole that enables the abuse of power.
Amalan yang pada khidmat saya dari dulu yang menganggap yang menyaksikan suatu bentuk perompakan penyalahgunaan kuasa yang mudah memberi ruang. Jadi seorang-orang penguasa, terutama menteri-menteri kewangan, senang sekali dengan prinsip rundingan terus. Rundingan terus itu walaupun ada kaedah-kaedahnya, saya setuju. Tetapi ia memberikan ruang yang lebih luas bagi sang penguasa untuk menetapkan. Dan ini pernah berlaku secara meluas dan membataskan bidang kuasa, jatuh kuasa teknikal dan pegawai-pegawai. Dan menyebabkan orang politik atau penguasa politik itu menentukan. Dan ini dihalang. Sebab itu saya kata menghalang sama sekali amalan rundingan terus dan melalui proses tender.
However, Anwar, who is also the current finance minister, noted that direct negotiations can be conducted if acquisitions are at a crucial stage, especially for projects that are related to the people's well-being. An example he noted was how the electrical crisis in Labuan, Sabah was resolved through direct negotiations with Petronas.
Katakan tidak ada pengecualian. Bila saya ke Labuan, ada masalah bekalan elektrik yang mendesak. Maka kita arah tenaga, terutamanya Petronas, melaksanakan IPP. Itu satu keperluan yang dianggap mendesak. Tapi saya tidak fikir kita boleh tentukan kontrak mana yang Petronas ambil. Jadi saya tidak fikir ia menimbulkan apa-apa kontroversi. Tapi prinsipnya kita menghalang sama sekali rundingan terus.
A proposal set forth by a well-known actor suggesting the establishment of brothels specifically catering to foreigners as a purported solution to address the alarming issue of rape cases within the country is met with absolute rejection and deemed wholly unacceptable. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Dr. Muhammad Naim Mokhtar, expressed that the proposal stands in direct contradiction to both civil and Sharia law.
He stated that under the Sharia Criminal Offences Federal Territories Act 1997, Act 559, provisions related to prostitution, including subsection 21 on prostitution. Meanwhile, Section 22, addressing procurers such as individuals acting as intermediaries between a woman and a man for any purpose contrary to Sharia law, and Section 23, dealing with extramarital sex, are outlined. Furthermore, the Sharia Criminal Offences Federal Territories Act 1997 imposes penalties on individuals involved in organizing, encouraging, or promoting others to commit vices as specified in Section 35 of Act 559. Previously, well-known local actor put forth the suggestion that establishments catering to prostitution should be made accessible for the convenience of male foreigners, particularly those who have left their wives behind in their home countries, to which Muhammad Naim responded by saying the proposal has sparked controversy within the community given the illegal status of prostitution in Malaysia.
Still on the same development, popular actor and businessman Datuk Rosham Noor has issued an apology for a controversial statement he made regarding prostitution dens for foreign workers. He said the clip of him making the remark was a promotional video for a podcast called Hitam Putih. As such, Rosham urged the public to view the entire podcast to understand the context of his suggestion.
Okey, apa-apa hal pun aku minta maaf dulu sebab aku tak sangka benda ni akan jadi viral yang besar. Tapi sebenarnya itu adalah promo untuk program podcast aku dekat Suhan Channel yang tajuk dia ialah Otak Porno Arab.
Schools were closed and electricity failed in several parts of Central and Eastern Europe as a cold snap moved in from Scandinavia, with Poland seeing overnight temperatures plunge to minus 23 degrees Celsius. The Polish Weather Service issued safety warnings for most of the city as temperatures are set to plummet further this week.
Around 2,200 households were without power in the northeast, where school bus services were cancelled. In Latvia, a temperature of minus 29.5 degrees Celsius was recorded in Daugavpils, the country's second largest city, with weather forecasters predicting similar Arctic conditions through the week. One woman froze to death on Saturday in neighboring Lithuania, where elementary school children in most areas were allowed to stay home. The lowest temperature recorded was minus 28 degrees Celsius in the western town of Zarasai. Hungary's National Weather Service warned of wind gusts of up to 90 kilometers per hour or 56 miles per hour in the northeast, and temperatures slipping to minus 12 degrees Celsius in some areas by Friday and Saturday. Strong winds of nearly 100 kilometers per hour blew off roofs, brought down trees onto roads, and downed electricity poles and power lines in some parts of the country.
Now, South Korea's parliament on Tuesday unanimously passed a bill banning breeding, slaughtering and selling dogs for their meat, a traditional practice that activists have long called an embarrassment for the country. The National Assembly gained 208 votes to enact the law, which will take effect after a 3-year grace period and upon receiving final approval from President Yoon Suk-yeol.
Breeding, selling, and slaughtering dogs for their meat will be punishable by up to 3 years in prison or fines of up to 30 million won, or about 100,000 ringgit. Dog meat consumption has declined as pet ownership rises, and the ban reflects changing attitudes, especially among younger urban Koreans. The legislation faces previous opposition from dog farmers, but the new law includes provisions for compensation to support businesses transitioning away from the dog meat trade. Activists and animal rights supporters welcome the move, considering it historic. The ban is part of broader efforts to address concerns related to dog farming, which involves around 1,100 farms breeding hundreds of thousands of dogs annually for consumption.
The Himalayan Kingdom of Bhutan began voting on Tuesday in general elections, with parties vowing to tackle serious economic challenges, calling into question its long-standing policy of prioritizing gross national happiness over growth. Both parties contesting the vote are committed to a constitutionally enshrined philosophy of a government that measures its success by the happiness and well-being of the people.
Some voters are expected to have trekked for days to cast their ballots in the landlocked mountain nation of about 800,000 people, similar in an area to Switzerland. Foremost in the minds of many are the struggles facing the kingdom's younger generation, with chronic youth unemployment and brain drain. Bhutan's youth unemployment rate stands at 29%, according to the World Bank, while economic growth has puttered along at an average of 1.7% over the past 5 years. Campaigns in the Buddhist majority nation have always been subdued affairs, with strict rules mandating that election materials can only be posted on public notice boards. A primary contest in November narrowed the race down to 2 parties, with both the previous government's lawmakers and their former opposition knocked out. Bhutan lies sandwiched between the globe's 2 most populous countries, China and India, with both neighbors watching with keen interest as they eye strategic contested border zones.
Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. For more news, please be sure to visit and follow our social media at tvsarawak.my. I'm Handy Gui. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.